Hey friends, great to see you. Yay.
It's
Mary, Pam, everybody.
Katie. It's great. So good to see your smiles and see your face. Look at me try to look over the camera to see who's at the bottom of the screen. It is a joy to just get these moments to reflect, right, on a powerful sermon. I have to admit, the plenary facilitators were awesome today. No, is that wrong? Look, I got Mary to laugh at least. She's like, oh.
Yeah.
No, it was a fun adventure today, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and to start our day, did you see yourselves on camera, right on the big screen when we opened up and you all were waving to us from last night? And yeah, hope that came across okay.
I hope you liked our Olympic pictures as well. I want to tell you something. It is just as hard to do this while you're in the Olympics at the same time. It's more challenging than most realize.
Especially the ice skating one. It's really hard.
Thank goodness I lost a little weight so she could hold me up like that. Well, friends, we want to remind you that this is just 15, 20, 30 minutes of a chat to connect. We're really wondering how the conference has gone for you. What were some of the highlights? What are some of the things we did right? And what are some things you hope we do next year? If you have any questions or thoughts, just type them into that chat. And if not, I have no problem filling 30 minutes of talking. I don't think they needed to laugh that much.
Yes. So today, anything that you want to bring up about our? We were frustrated that we didn't have a chance to interact with the audience, right? Presentations went a little longer than we had thought, and we were hoping to dialogue with folks, but we couldn't do that. So we're going to have to make time or find a time to do that, possibly, I don't know, webinar, Zoom later that APCE could sponsor, and we can all communicate and talk further about sustaining and what sustains you, what you need to sustain others, those kinds of conversations. So
I really appreciated hearing all 5 denominations share what they're in the middle of doing, right? Because so often wherever we come from, we know our little world. And if only we could open that circle, like Mark's song at the end, make the circle a little wider, we can learn so much more. And so I was really intrigued with, Emily is always a brilliant speaker, but what the
Emily Hill from Canada.
What they were doing was fabulous. The gentleman, now his name is eluding me, Caleb, who spoke about the college ministries. What a wonderful fertile ground to think creatively. So I felt really good about that.
Yeah, I think we heard from some great folks there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then,
there's Emily.
Oh,
yay.
Hey, Em, you're kind of hidden right behind the camera, but I got to tell you, I could recognize your hair anywhere.
Oh, thanks.
You are welcome. Maybe next year I'll Photoshop hair on my head for her.
There you go.
We'll have a combined Tom-Emily picture. We were just talking and singing your praises about the sustaining ministries you're involved in and the way the Canadian church is working that, but also the RCA, all of them really.
Right. So we're glad that you are giving us positive feedback on the online. What I invite you as you think about filling out the evaluations, right, is to be sure and mention that you were one of the online participants, and hope that we'll continue that, because we hope we'll continue that, right?
We do.
And speaking of continuing, right?
Yeah.
Is that a good segue?
This year's been great, but the end is near, about 15 minutes away. And so we wanted to just take a few minutes to celebrate not only what we've done, but look forward to next year, right? Because isn't that the catch of our faith, is not just to live in the past or think the moment, the present is everything, but to realize there is always a remnant moving forward. And so we are excited and pleased to introduce you to our 2023 Birmingham chairs. Yay!
Hey, everybody. So good to see you.
Hello.
Why don't you guys introduce yourselves and maybe tell us how you got, I don't want to say suckered into this job, but how you so lovingly got nudged into it.
Well, I'm Mary Todd Peters. I'm from Chapel Hill, North Carolina,
And I have been coming to APCE for off and on for about 25 years. And I don't know, maybe my friend Tom Cunningham invited me to co-chair 2022, which turned out to be 2023. And so I thought of all the educators that I knew and how many that I loved, and I love very many of them, but Jamie Van Dyke, God said, choose Jamie. And so I did.
Well, I'm so glad that you heard that voice from above, but I am Jamie Van Dyke. I serve at Raleigh Moravian Church, and sort of to bring back the circle theme, my very first APCE was the last time we were here in Chicago.
Oh, wow.
So really so special to be back here and kind of feel like, now I've been through a series of APCEs and created those connections. And I'm really happy that Mary Todd convinced me that we could partner together in planning what promises to be a really exciting event in Birmingham.
Yes, we're very excited to be in Birmingham again. I actually was not at the Birmingham conference in 2001. I'd had, I don't know, 2 kids, I think, at the same time. Oh yeah, twins. So I was at home for that one, and we didn't have streaming back then or the online options. So I completely missed it, but I'm looking forward to heading there.
I love your theme, the unforced rhythms of grace, the logo, everything is just stunning. So tell us a little bit about what your vision is. We heard with the circles of faith, that was what they were going after. So share with us what you hope people will come away with.
Absolutely. So, it's really interesting. Of course, when we started brainstorming about what we wanted this conference to be, we didn't know where we were going, and we didn't know when it would be, because of course, about the time our team formed was the time everybody went into, lockdown quarantine. So we initially thought we were wanting to grapple with this topic of how do we come alongside each other in times of grief, because we had both had, things that had happened over the course of our lives that we just felt like it was a tough topic that had a lot that we could all gain perspective on. So, and then of course we had the pandemic that occurred. And so it just felt like it was the right theme for the right time. And so we're really looking forward to our speakers that I think are going to bring such wisdom and just a variety of voices that we really need to hear as a church about how we can do better about coming alongside people that have faced trauma and grief, and how do we lament well while we also look hopeful to what is on the other side as we connect with each other.
Great. So do you want to tell us a little bit about your presenters, or can you share that?
Yes. And I am so excited. I just have to jump in here. Ever since they started whispering names of who's coming, I have been reading and listening, and I have to tell you, it's going to be amazing. So tell us who you first got. We were not going to ask who your favorite is,
Not yet.
Because there are too many of them. But who do you first have?
So we invited John Pavlovitz, who is an author. He's got a blog. He's got several books. He's written A Bigger Table, and he is just published a book, If God is Love, Don't Be a Jerk. And he is wonderful and fantastic. He actually lives in North Carolina in Wake Forest, which is very near where Jamie lives. And so she has met him in person. We have met with him online. He is most gracious. We invited him to do all of our plenaries because we felt like with such a topic, we needed someone that we could form a relationship with and a trust with as we walk through each day. Of these themes of unforced rhythms of grace.
And John has just done such amazing work around the topic of grief through his own loss of his father very tragically and suddenly. And if you follow John's blog, he has just done some beautiful, beautiful work about how we can grieve better with one another. So we just think he's going to be such an important voice to this theme.
Yeah. So when you first mentioned it, you said you should read something by him. And I did. I stumbled across his very first book. It's called Hope. I can't see without my awesome
And
Hope
Other Superpowers.
and Other Superpowers. If you have somebody who's involved in youth ministries, college ministries, or somebody who just likes superheroes, which could be you, it's a book worth reading. He's just such a powerful writer. And he has a very earthy way of putting things together.
Cool.
And I've loved it. I've used several of his chapters as sermon illustrations or Bible study kind of spin-offs. It's just amazing.
So John's book was part of the bookstore. Two of John's books were part of the bookstore this year. And I was able to snap some pictures and email them to him quickly. You're at APCE, even if you aren't here yet, but we're so excited. And he emailed me back how happy he was that he already had an APCE presence and that he's going to be excited to be with us next year.
Cool.
I think the APCE discount at the bookstore, it was all virtual this year. And by that, I mean, all the books were present. People could look at the books, but they couldn't buy the books in person. You had to order them online like everybody would do. And if you are interested in his books, I highly encourage you to do it because I think the passcode is APCE22 and you get a special discount.
And free shipping.
And free shipping as well. So if you're interested, definitely try to take advantage of that. Who else do you have coming?
So we have a couple of preachers that we are excited about. CC Armstrong, who is down in Charleston, South Carolina, will be one of our preachers. She's going to close us out on Saturday. And we also have a local preacher, Katie Nakamura Ringers, and she's an Episcopal priest. She works for the diocese.
Yes.
And she has done a lot with homelessness and other organizations in the Birmingham area. So those are two that we're excited to announce. We're still working on a third to be announced. Negotiations are going on right now as we sit here. And then we are thrilled to announce that we have G. Philip Schultz III, who's going to coordinate our music and worship for the conference. And so we are thrilled. We spent time on the phone with Philip. He is just a joy. If you joined us last year for the online conference, he coordinated at least one of the musical pieces where the choir was spread out in the sanctuary, and it was a bunch of young singers, and they had movement and clapping and a little bit of dancing and powerful singing. And so we're excited to have Philip join us as well.
So I had the privilege of singing with Philip at the Montreat Worship and Music Conference this past summer. And one of the songs we sang was that song that he had recorded for our annual event. And when he started playing that music, I had tears running down my face because it brought up such memories. But to sing with Philip Schultz and to have him with us is just going to be a real treat. He is genuine and gets people singing. If you enjoyed Mark Miller, I know that you will enjoy Philip Schultz, engaging and wonderful and all of that. I'll also just tell you a little bit more about CC. So I serve with CC Armstrong on the board of Johnson C. Smith Theological Seminary. CC happens to be the chair of the board right now. She then also was one of the preachers at Montreat Worship and Music Conference. What we loved about CC is before she would preach, she would say, I have to take off my shoes. And she would always preach in her bare feet. And then the sermon would just come out of her mouth and flow. And she is a gifted young preacher. So really excited that those two folks are going to be with us. Yay.
One of the things I am also very excited about, I've never really been to Birmingham, the entire area. I know a little bit of the history, but I think it sounds like there are going to be some opportunities for us to also explore the history of the civil rights concerns, how we might learn and grow in difficult conversations.
And we're really honored that while we are going to be in Birmingham for 2023, that city will be marking that 60th anniversary of the bombing of the 16th Street Baptist Church. And we just think that, around this topic of grief and lament, there is so much to unpack with that. So we're honored that this is all coming together around such an important, part of that history.
And we're hoping to do some pre-events related to the area that we are in, and possibly not yet completely planned, but we're hoping to get to Montgomery and possibly Selma, and also a post event, because we really feel like with such a heavy topic that we're going to need time to debrief and to process and to rest and to have some
Mm.
unforced rhythms of grace.
Mm.
And so our local committee co-chairs, Jenny Thagard and Kathy Caldwell Hoop. Jenny works at the camp, and I think it's Little River.
Living River.
Living River Camp. And so we're hoping for some possibilities there for either pre or post events. So mark your calendars for those dates that plan to spend a little more time with us. The other thing that we're excited about is we're hoping to have some spiritual directors and some pastoral care on board and be providing space for them to meet with either small groups or individuals to help process not just what they're experiencing at the conference, but let's face it, we have really been through a lot in the last 2+ years. And we're really hoping that, endemic, whatever, that we will be able to be in person for sure, but we have a lot to process.
Absolutely.
As people and as a church.
I keep thinking that when we were in Little Rock a few years ago, were many of you in Little Rock? Give me a show of hands if you were there. Yeah, I see this. Many of us were. If you had the chance to see Central High and be part of that experience, there aren't any words. There's no way to describe it. It is a feeling, emotion, a learning that has to take place. And I think some of the things you have lined up as pre-conference events, as well as conference workshops and other things, will really give us a strong sense of opportunities for growth and reconciliation, and to consider what we can make this world in the future, looking at the past.
Oh, Tom, we got a question for you.
Okay.
Will
yes.
online participants receive the 50th anniversary wine glass and coaster?
So that's a tricky question, which I'm just going to blame Ann in the end. It's a tricky question. So we charge people here a little bit more for those things because they'd be in person, and so we do have extra. And this is all I'm willing to look at. Emily, she's like, yes. Here's all I'm willing to say is if you can email me, I'll try to get you a glass. There are no coasters. We ran out of those here. I have about 15. I live in this area, so you can imagine what my car is going to look like going home. But I have 15 or 20 of them left, and I've been told to do what I can with. I'd love to share them with you. So if you can shoot me your email, I can't promise. I don't know how we would do that. How would we do that?
You're asking me, Tom. That's your commitment you're taking on.
What? Yeah. Can you type that into the? We're on the fly. This is all live. So because I know you think we're so professional, it was recorded, but it's actually live. So we're going to drop my email address into the chat. You can click on that. Say, hey, Tom, would you send me one of those glasses if there are any left? And I will promise you that tomorrow I will try to get one in the mail. And all of my Canadian friends, Emily can attest that when I try to ship things via mail, they sometimes take weeks and weeks because I'm not that bright. I sent Emily a package. She helped me with last year's event. So I sent the entire committee. You each got one, and got one. Little pots with dirt and a bulb, so you could grow a cute little flower. And always remember this: I didn't think about sending something across the border that you're not allowed to send. So I think it took a little while to get to her, but sooner or later it got there, right?
So the next question is going to be: are you including wine with the wine glasses you mail that? Right?
No wine is included. But here's what you do: you fill it up with water and pray over it, and just assume Jesus will turn it to wine for you.
There you go.
We're going to count on the Holy Spirit to take care of that. How do people online get bags and 50th anniversary books?
So the 50th anniversary books, they're hoping that they're going to be in the form of a PDF soon, right? So that you'll be able to download those.
And if you want that bag, write that in that request, and I will see what I can do about that. I don't know if we have any extra bags, but I do know if we have them, they're going to end up in my car. and somewhere in my garage for a long time. So my wife would love it if I can find a good place for them. They're adorable bags.
They're nice.
Yeah,
All right. Any other questions coming?
I think we're probably pretty good.
Okay. If you don't want to hear any more questions around those lines.
Pardon me?
What happened to all the bags in 2019?
What happened to all the bags for
I don't think we had
2019?
bags in 2019. Did we? Oh, that was a question? Yeah, we didn't have, I don't think we had bags in 2019, did we? I don't recall them. If we did, I'd have one and we don't. So that's the authoritative decision. We had no bags.
All right.
Are we gonna have bags next year?
Too early to tell,
Too
right?
early to tell.
Too early to tell.
I like to
All right.
put people on the spot. It's awkward and funny. Well, friends, we just really enjoy this time. Do you ever feel like you are sitting at the dining room table with a group of old friends and just shooting the breeze? I know that this isn't exactly that, but for Ann and I, it really does feel like that.
Yep.
We are so grateful for all you who come and join us.
Great. So it is great to see your faces and a lot of familiar faces out there. So yay. Linda, Ann, Josh, yay.
And we love the
Laura,
new faces
Mary.
too.
Pam. Yeah. All right.
Well,
So-
friends, may the Holy Spirit go with you. May this conference have lifted you up, had sustained you in a way that you needed to be sustained. May you sense that God is all around you and all you do. And may there be a way for us to gather once again next year, one way or the other. God bless you all. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
See you in
See ya in
Birmingham.
Birmingham in 2023.